ማስታወስ መቻል አለባቸው።
I would like every one of you to stand up first. In the memory of Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Toussaint Louverture, in the memory of Nat Turner, in the memory of Henry Sylvester Williams, in the memory of Muhammad Duse Ali, in the memory of Marcos Messiah Garvey, only one who was able to organize black people globally, in the memory of Patrice Emery Lumumba, in the memory of Huey P. Newton, in the memory of Martin Luther King Jr., in the memory of Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, in the memory of Malcolm X, in the memory of Dr. Francis Kwame Nkrumah, the High Priest of Pan-Africa, in the memory of Fred Hampton, in the memory of Stephen Biko, in the memory of Dr. John Henry Clark, in the memory of President Ahmed Seko Toure, in the memory of Dr. Ben Yusuf Chanan, in the memory of Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, in the memory of Dr. Runoko Rashid, in the memory of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the memory of Winnie Mandizekela Mandela, in the memory of Stephen Cochrane, in the memory of Kwame Ture, in the memory of Professor Tony Martin, in the memory of Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, in memory of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who established Black History Month in 1926. In memory of those who did not make to the list, I greet you all.
ሁላችሁንም ሰላም ላለው
Salam nachu. What's up? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hamjambo. Habari zenu. Bonjour. Samaksh. Buenos dias. Niño y niña de Africa. Bon dia. I'm so great to be here today. And I want you to have a seat. This is Black History Month. I have to go through the long list of our heroes and sheroes so that you may remember something. A lot of you are students and you are our hope for the future. So today, I'm going to give you a lot of history. We are talking here about a few things. We are talking about Black people history. We are talking about the language. We are talking about Pan-Africanism. All of those, I'm going to cover them. I'm going to start by Pan-Africanism. I know definitely I was invited here to talk about language, but I have, as a Pan-Africanist or Black African nationalist, to highlight about Pan-Africanism. As you all know, Pan-Africa haven't been efficient or perfect in application. Can easily say that Pan-Africa is a failing movement. Trust me on this. Nowhere there is a school that is built by Pan-Africa. There is no a bank that is called a Pan-Africa or is belong to Pan-Africa. There is not even a budget for Pan-Africanism. It has become something that politicians pick on and put down when they don't want to. So today I want to set up a tone. I want to set up a fundamental about Pan-Africanism. If we're going to go anywhere, we must hold these three Pan-African principles. If Pan-Africa is going to liberate Black people globally, these three principles must be taken serious. And you are a student, you must write this and you should remember this for the rest of your life. So the first one is United States of Africa. That is number one. This is the beginning. It's not the end goal. United States of Africa is something that we must have if we want to make Pan-Africa work. I want you guys to understand this. The first one is not to liberate Africa economically. The first one is not to liberate Africa politically, to have political freedom, infrastructure, medical, financially. All of those things are very important, but they are not the first one. The first one is United States of Africa. We must have one single sovereignty in Africa. United, not union. We must be one. The borders were made by white people sitting in Europe must go. That is principle number 1. Principle number 2 is also very important. Africa for Africans at home and abroad. The ownership of Africa must be shared equally to those who are born here, us, and those who are born outside of Africa. Someone who's born in Haiti or Jamaica or Chicago have the ownership of Africa as you do. The last one, which is very important in Ethiopia, is race first. Your race comes first before your ethnic. Your race comes first before your religion. If you are Orthodox today, tomorrow you can be Muslim if you choose to. If you are Pente, you guys call Pente, right? If you are Pente today, tomorrow you can be Orthodox, or you can be anything you want. You can even stop all of them together. But you will never change your face. You are born black, you will die black. And people will always treat you as a black person anywhere you go, once you step out from Ethiopia. Because here in Ethiopia, you don't get treatment or anything. We all black, so obviously you don't have anything. But once you get in outside of Ethiopia, you will see what I'm talking about. So race comes first. Your job does not come first before your race. Your country, or so-called countries, as I already said, it was made by white men sitting in Europe, does not come first before your race. You are black first. Those are the principles of Pan-Africa. We must live or die for those 3 principles. Other things, we can follow them later on. I hope you guys, you understand me. I'm a teacher. I teach Kiswahili, so you should expect that after I finish to teach you guys, I'm going to give you quiz or questions. Now, my next step, I was invited to talk to you guys about language. And I want to highlight the importance of language in either our liberation struggles or any other thing that we have come across. Black History Month or Black History does not start the time of slavery. Black history does not start the time of colonization. It started by the time God Almighty created man and woman. The first person ever exists, he was a black person. We all know definitely that the first sophisticated person who was able to build the Tower of Babel, from the history, if you guys read your history in either a Bible or Quran, you know this, who was able to build the Tower of Babel, which made all of us to speak different languages, he was a black person. His name was Nimrod. Nimrod was a son of who? Cush. Cush means what? Ethiopia. So the black history is as old as it is that. There is no history in the world without black history. There is not. And there will be no history after black history. We are the original people. We are the first one who existed. Every civilization came from us. Let me touch a little bit about language. There is a quote I have from Dr. but also preview president of Tanzania, Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, who died actually 2 years ago on the month of February. He says this: a common indigenous language in modern national states is a powerful fact of unity. It promotes the feeling of one single community. Additionally, it makes possible the expansion of ideas, economic targets, and cultural identity. That's President Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli. So it promotes the kind of feeling that we are one person. Back in history, in 1801, the Haiti, or Haiti, depends how you pronounce it, he defeated Napoleon Bonaparte, or France. You guys know about Napoleon, right? The most ruthless military fighter of France. So Haiti was able to defeat France in 1801 in French calendar. I don't know in Ethiopia which one will be. But why did Haiti defeated France? France was the biggest, very powerful country at that time. With Napoleon, you guys already know that. Napoleon has conquered all the way to Russia. He conquered every country in Europe. But Haiti, small island, defeated him. How did that happen? Because of the language. In 1680, between 1680 and 1740, the Haitian people who were taken from slavery decided to create a language called the Creole. The Creole is a language mix of African languages, French and English and Spanish together, and then they made a language. So when they want to fight for their liberation, to be independence, they actually use the language to defeat France because French could not understand what they were saying. Adwa. I hope you guys will like this. Obviously, this is about Ethiopia. I'm not here to teach you about the history of Ethiopia, definitely, but I want to highlight something very important. There is a lot of reasons why Ethiopians were able to defeat Italian colonizers. Some scholars have agreed that Ethiopia at that time had big military power. They had big number of militaries, which may be true. But some even argue that the reason why Ethiopia was able to defeat Italy, it was because Ethiopia were organized. That one also may be true. However, as a Pan-Africanist and also someone who lived in different countries, I found out that the biggest reason why Ethiopia were able to defeat Italy, by the way, was a powerful country too at that time. Trust me, don't underestimate that. They were very powerful. It's because of the language. We must give credit to Amharic language. If there was no language, trust me on this, if there was no a common language that everyone spoke, Ethiopia was not going to defeat Italy. I guarantee on that. There is no way you can organize people without a language. All the military or the people who fought in Italy Adwa war, they spoke a language. They were able to communicate among themselves. So the credit of Adwa must go to unify Ethiopian language. Now, I want to advocate Kiswahili. I hope you guys, you're going to be happy with that. I don't think it's bad, something like that. But I want to tell you the history of Kiswahili language and why we should embrace or bring Kiswahili to Ethiopia as well. Right when Tanzanian political party, which was fighting for independence of Tanzania today, that time was called Tanganyika in 1954, President Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, Mwalimu means what? Teacher. Decided to mobilize people by using Kiswahili language, and he also implemented Kiswahili to be national and official language of Tanzania today. Today we see our leaders, elites, going to study in China. They go to study in China and they are studying Mandarin. Mandarin is a language in China that is used as a common language because China has 302 living languages. China decided to come up with one language. They have a lot of languages, but they choose to come up with one language that they can develop and make the civilization. However, we in Africa, we haven't come to that decision. We are sending the children to study Mandarin to China today. In Ghana, the history of Kiswahili, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was a Pan-Africanist, as I said before, advocated Kiswahili to be adopted as lingua franca of Africa back in 1960s. For that reason, Ghanaian Broadcasting Corporation, University of Ghana, Ghana Institute of Language and University of Ghana adopted Kiswahili. Still until today, Kiswahili is taught in Ghana. DRC Congo, I'm talking to you about the history of Kiswahili language in Africa. I started with Tanzania and then I went to Ghana. Now I'm in DR Congo. Dr. Congo. A lot of people do not know that the first language spoken in Congo by many people is Kiswahili. A lot of people will think maybe it's French or Lingala, but it's not. It's Kiswahili, the most spoken language in Congo. So Congo, Patrice Lumumba ordered Kiswahili to be included in school curriculum in DR Congo back in 1958. So Kiswahili became the most spoken language in DR Congo, the richest country in the world, which I love, and sometimes I take pride from Congo. Let's go to outside of Africa because this is Black History Month. Let's go to US. Since 1960s, African America incorporated Kiswahili in historically black colleges and universities, HBUCs. I think if you lived in America, you know these schools. In 1966, Dr. Maulana is a Kiswahili word, Kiswahili names as well. Maulana Kalenga, Black American, founded holiday called Kwanzaa. A lot of you guys have heard about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa, it means the first in Kiswahili. Is the Kiswahili word, it means Kwanzaa, it means Andinet or Andinya? Andi? Eh? Andinet. So the holiday Kwanzaa holds everything in Kiswahili language. We know the principles of Kwanzaa, which one is umoja. Umoja is also Kiswahili, it means unity, which he explained that to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, and nation and race. So umoja is the first principle. Those 7 principles are all in Kiswahili. Number 2 is kujichagulia, which is self-determination. Kujichagulia is Kiswahili as well, means from kuchagua, which means to choose or to elect for yourself. Ujima, which means collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa, it means friendship, something like that in Kiswahili as well, which is cooperative economy. Nia, it means purpose or reason why, nia. And then kuumba is to create, creativity. And then the last one, which is my name, Imani. Imani means faith, eminent in Amharic, eminent, naba eminent, but also not Haimanot. So when Dr. Maulana Kalenga was asked why African America chose Kiswahili back in 1968, remember we are talking about 1968, now we are in 2024. So that's a lot of years, almost is going to be a century. He said that we wanted to escape Western traditional and tribalism, ethnicity, tribalism, Ethiopia with tribalism. We want to escape tribalism, ethnicity things, both. Swahili is not a tribe language. It is present a collective effort of our group that we do. Also, Black Power movement gained strength in the late 1960s, and Kiswahili language became the movement symbol and meaningful for Black identity. So Kiswahili is a Black identity in America. Trust me on this. All Black people in America identify themselves with the Kiswahili language, which come from East Africa. Actually, it's not even from West Africa. Now, Anytime I say about Kiswahili, I know a lot of you say, oh, you must be from Kenya. You know, Kenya, let me give you history of Kiswahili in Kenya. In 1964, the schools that were formerly known for white people was open to Kenyans. And Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya decided collectively to include Kiswahili in those schools. When 1985, Kenya changed and bring up a school system called 844, Kiswahili become included in school from primary school to universities. In 1985, that's when Kenya included Kiswahili in schools. In Uganda, it's the same thing. Kiswahili has been as a national language or official language of Uganda. But in 2005, yesterday, Ugandan government included Kiswahili to be official language. 2022, Uganda government made Kiswahili to be mandatory in schools. I think I'm running out my time, is it? 2 minutes? Man, okay. Oh, this is gonna cut me off. But anyways, Rwanda and Burundi adopted Kiswahili in 2005, whereas Rwanda replaced French with Kiswahili in 2019. So can I go over and over? 2020, South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia adopted Kiswahili. And so I think for that reason, I will like to ask about Ethiopia, because we hear all those countries, South Sudan adopted Kiswahili, everyone. The last year, the Colombian Vice President, Madame Marquez, Francois Marquez, she adopted Kiswahili in Colombia, which is in South America, to be taught for anyone who is African descendants. So that's how Kiswahili is actually uniting us, all of us. So what do we want from Ethiopia? One, we need Ethiopia to include Kiswahili from primary school to universities. Is it? Should Ethiopia teach Kiswahili from primary school to universities? Yes or not? Yes, very good. We also need African Kiswahili Center. We need a building that will represent Kiswahili language. You know we have British Council, Hall Mountain. We have Alliance Française. We have Goethe Institute. We have Germany, Italian culture things. We need African Kiswahili Center. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and I thank God for to give us this chance as well to be alive. I thanks for Purpose Black and Addis Ababa University as well to organize this. God bless Africa. Thank you. Mungu ibariki Afrika.